Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I've been the one waiting to be over here just to share with you guys. I've been so impressed with the fact that you are here showing up, because as I look at chiropractors, how many of you are chiropractors in the room? How many of you are CAs? How many of you are supporters of chiropractors and CAs? Great. One of the things that I can tell you is this. I was thinking about what can I share with you. I mean, you've had some of the most amazing people in chiropractic. And for me, I believe that we have challenges. How many of you wish that they could see more people through your offices? Raise your hand. And be honest. How many of you want to see that we truly have a healthcare system rather than a disease care system? Raise your hand. How many of you would like to beat the battle of this epidemic of obesity, especially in our children? Raise your hand. How many of you would like to see that we have an unmedicated society? Raise your hand. See, this is all the challenges that all of us are facing. And it's not just chiropractors, but chiropractors, the benefit is that we have and we live in a paradigm that is ahead of its time. Many people always said, oh, D.D. Palmer was ahead of his time. B.J. Palmer was ahead of his time. Well, they were really ahead of their time. And there have been many people along the way that have come and tried to build upon what they founded, and we're still not even there. Because people are living in a paradigm that is completely opposite almost to what we've been trained. So the question is, why is it that we're thinking one way when the rest of the world is living in a whole different way? And I've been asking myself that question a lot over the last 23 years that I've been a chiropractor, primarily because I need to understand why is it that sometimes I feel that we're speaking a different language. I had an opportunity to go to China, and it's one of those languages that I don't know anything about. And it was interesting because I tried to communicate, but they were just not understanding what I wanted, and I couldn't understand a word they were saying. And that's sometimes the way I feel when we're trying to communicate chiropractic to the society. Do you agree with me? It's like a whole different language. And you're like, but don't you realize that you can have this, and don't you realize that your body is worth it, and don't you realize that you can live longer, and don't you realize that you don't have to take 10 pills a day just to make it through the day? Or the latest statistics that over 25% of our children, listen to this, over 25% of our children aged 16 and below are taking antidepressants. Now, imagine this. That's the stage in your life, right? That if you're going to be happy, if you're going to be joyful, it's when you're a child. Because as we get older, we know that it gets a little bit tougher for those that are not aligned with their purpose. If you're aligned with the purpose, it's a joy. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit tonight. So after I started understanding some of these issues that we're all facing, I've been very blessed, because I've been in a position that I never knew about chiropractic until much later in my life. In fact, I was actually studying to be pre-med, and I had already agreed in my mind that I was moving towards being a neurosurgeon. I fell in love with the nervous system in my sophomore year in university. I discovered the nervous system. Little did I know that it had more power through chiropractic care than I ever was taught in my books. Because I actually did a volunteer rotation in Parkland Hospital in Dallas in the surgical rotation for neurosurgery. And I was talking to these surgeons and talking about what they did to help these patients. And this is like the highest egos that you can find in medicine, because it's like coming close to God. By the time you get on their tables, if nobody can help you, they're probably the ones that can help you. Well, I realized that was not true when I became a chiropractic patient. I realized that the nervous system was meant to function from the moment that it's born. And even in the womb, you're already developing all of these amazing things that are happening. The problem is that we go into the world, and we enter the world, visualize, Okay, world, here I come. We enter the world, and we start immediately limiting our potential in almost every single way. And that's one of the things that I've been really evaluating in my life and in my journey. Because as I went through and became a chiropractor, and then became a business owner as a chiropractor, And then I was called to be the leader of Parker after Dr. Jim passed away. He was my mentor. and I accepted that role. I realized that I have experienced probably things that many of you probably will have not experienced and may not experience the rest of your life. And what I wanted to do is kind of take you a little bit on a journey to give you some solutions to these challenges that you may be facing today. Solutions on the challenges of developing chiropractic certainty, meaning what is chiropractic to you? And how is it that you're then communicating that effectively to everyone around you? The second thing is maybe sharing with you some business experiences that I had that allow me to build a successful practice. Because building a business is a reflection of building yourself. It's that simple. But you cannot have a business that doesn't reflect and is congruent with your own values as a person. And many people try to copy other people's procedures when Dr. Parker had researched more than anyone in the profession, and he said that he could take a doctor in Dallas, Texas, seeing 500 patients a week, and move them to Houston, Texas, in a clinic that was seeing 100 patients a week, and within 6 months, those clinics will be totally the opposite based on the person that was behind. Can you hear that? The person and not the procedures. So if it was the person, then it's about a belief system within that person that allowed that person to attract that many patients. Can you agree? Yes. Are you relating? Is this helpful? Yes. So, and then I want to take you to another stage, and that's the stage that life, I have found, that is a lot more joyful and a lot more rewarding when you're living for a purpose greater than yourself. Can you relate to that? Yes. Because many of us are barely thinking every single day about your own needs. I got to make so much money to pay the rent. I got to make so much money so I can buy the clothes I want or have the house I want or the car I want. It seems to be about our needs rather than the needs of others. And I don't mean just your patients. I'm talking about the planet. Right now, we're at the most opportune time to have the greatest impact that we can have in society, because the challenges of society are just the craziest in every single way. People are more disconnected with everybody else than ever. Our children are not even talking to each other because they're just texting one to another, even though they're living in the same house. My son, I have two sons, a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old. So the 16-year-old invites me to the movies. And then, he's like, Dad, do you mind sitting like 2 rows behind us, There may be girls in the theater. So his friends overheard him and said, what do you mean? Your dad is one of the coolest dads. I want him right here. We want to talk to him. So that was a nice compliment. So I'm noticing that these kids are texting each other while they're at the movies. And I'm like, I thought the movies was to come and watch a movie and enjoy it. But the thing is that they're so conditioned, and it's got to be instantly, that communication that is keeping us truly from living our purpose, because we get completely distracted from what we need to be thinking about, because we're trying to be too accessible to everything and everyone out there. So that means that other people's agendas become your agenda. And we got to take control of our own agenda. Otherwise, you will never achieve what it is that you're looking for. So the why of chiropractic, to me, is one of the most critical questions that I want you to ask yourself today. And I often think about the why for me was primarily started when I discovered what chiropractic was. And it was 2 students that were at Parker that I met at a party that shared with me 3 things. Number 1, that the body was a self-healing organism. Number 2, that the master system is the controlling system of the body that regulates every other system in the body. Every cell in the body has to have some kind of nerve supply to be able to function and reproduce itself. And then number 3, that there was a universal intelligence, most of us call it God, that expresses itself within ourselves as innate intelligence. That intelligence is the inner wisdom of the body. That is what controls everything in the body. That is what makes us connected to something greater than ourselves. So when you are given a sentence by a doctor or by somebody that says, no, ma'am, you only have 6 months to live. Remember all those stories in the early days? As soon as you sentence those people, and I'll never forget Bernie Siegel, one of the leading oncologists in the country, was at a Parker seminar speaking to us about this, and he said the biggest problem with medicine in cancer patients, they're given a sentence, and the majority of those patients died before that sentence because they already checked out. But the patients that say, well, Dr. Siegel, I know that I'm meant to be longer because I don't want to miss my granddaughter's wedding. So I am going to be here. You just got to tell me what I got to do to be here. He said those patients that fought any statistical analysis out there of how many years you had when you were diagnosed with cancer, especially in the early 80s when there wasn't as much preventative things out there, those individuals were the individuals that survived. And I never forgotten that. This was 1988 when I heard this lecture. And I kept saying to myself, okay, if that happens with cancer patients, then what is happening in our own lives whenever we have either a parent or a mentor or somebody in society that says our potential is this, and this is all you're going to amount to be. This is all you're going to accomplish in life. And it's just because you're not seeing examples around you of things that are not as much as what you think is possible for you, does that make it a reality? Of course not. That just means that you haven't been surrounding yourself with the right people. Because why is it that in California, right here in Southern California, we have individuals that wake up every single day asking themselves, what else can I do to serve more people in this community? And we have others that wake up and the first thing they say to themselves, man, I hope that we have more than 5 patients coming into my office today because I don't know if I'm going to make rent. Wow. It's a belief system, and it all starts with you recognizing what is possible rather than what is probable. And if you can make that connection and recognize that there's nothing that is not possible, if your mind can conceive it, you can attract it, you can achieve it. That's been something that's been said forever. If you can conceive it, if you can think about it, then it's just a matter of developing the strategy to how to make it happen. But this is what happened with strategy. We say we want to see more patients, but when I ask you to tell me, what did you do all day today? Tell me how you spend your day from the moment you woke up to the moment you went to sleep. I bet you that your actions do not reflect what you're saying you want to do. It happens all the time. When I learned that exercises, I wanted to be more fit. And I realized that I wasn't working out as much as I wanted to, or I needed to. And whenever I was in this seminar and they were asking the questions, write down over here. So the exercise is very simple. You take a white piece of paper or a blank sheet of paper and you put a line in the middle. On the left-hand side, you're going to put the things that I want. On the right-hand side, you're going to put the behaviors that I have every day. And if your behaviors are not congruent with what it is that you want, and I recommend at least 3 behaviors a day for everything you want. So if you say, I want to see more patients, then I want you to do at least 3 activities every single day that would allow you to attract more patients. So one could be, I'm going to ask for referrals from my existing patient base. Every single person, I'm going to say, you know, Mary, you've been telling me you're feeling great, right? Oh, Dr. Herbert, you know, you're the best, and you just helped me so much, you know. And I say, well, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to at least find 3 people today that you can share what it is that chiropractic has brought into your life, because I wish I could be out there telling people, but I have to be here taking people just like you. And that keeps me from going out there. So I need you to do me this favor to please share with others and bring 3 patients into this practice so I can help them too. Would you do that for me? What patient is going to tell you no when you just help them so much? That could be one thing. The second thing could be that, you know, all of a sudden you decide to write an email to all your existing patients. And you're going to create an awareness, and I would say put it from an emotional component. So you can look at the newspaper, and you can say, okay, we're going through unemployment today. And the unemployment rate and the financial crisis is at the highest that it's been in a long time in this country. So what about sending an email to your patients, an existing patient base, and just saying, you know, I just wanted to tell you how grateful I am that you're a chiropractic patient. But I was reading the headlines this morning about our unemployment and the financial crisis, and I know that people are more stressed today than they've ever been. If you know of anybody that is stressed right now in life, and it could be a coworker, a family member, a friend, I want you to please refer them to our office, because as you know, chiropractic is fantastic in allowing the body to respond to external stresses, more than anything that I've seen out there. And ask him to help you bring that. The third thing is that you can create and plan appreciation days, or go to a health fair, or do a workshop in which you're going to be asking other people to bring individuals that can come in as new patients. But if you don't do something every single day that is allowing you to achieve that goal or objective, don't expect to attract it. See, I was saying I wanted to work out, but I never got in the gym to work out. And then I was trying it, and I realized, okay, I was going to work after work, and it wasn't consistent. I made it Monday and Friday, but the other days it wasn't consistent, because I had 2 younger kids. So then I realized that I had to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning so I can get in the gym at 5:15 or 5:10 and be able to work out when everybody else was sleeping, and I can still maintain my day properly. And I've been doing that for the last probably 8 years. So you have to find a way to be consistent with your message, with your behavior, otherwise it's hard to achieve that. So I'll tell you a story of what happened to me when I was at Parker. In the early days of Parker, we didn't have philosophy until Tri 3. Now we have probably one of the few PhCs, which is the philosophy individuals in chiropractic that teach philosophy from day one. We brought the best philosopher on campus to actually plant the seeds of this belief system from day one. Why? Because as you remember, you have so much basic sciences behind you that you forget why you're there in the first place. Would you agree? You are so overwhelmed with all the biochemistries and embryologies and histologies and anatomies that you forget that the purpose of learning those classes is so you recognize that the power of an adjustment is what allows that body to function the way you're learning it. And without the adjustment, that body is limited to function in the way it was designed to be. So to me, that was very critical. So after my first trimester, I was so exhausted that I actually went home and I spent 2 days in bed. I was just, I don't know if you remember your first try. It's like chiropractic. Listen, at Parker we have had MDs, PhDs, all kinds of PTs go to school, and they all have said the same thing. I have never been to a profession or a school that is so tested, that is so hard. And then here we are, the society is thinking that, oh, I don't really know how well educated my chiropractor really is. It's one of the biggest things that I'm trying to change the mindset in society. People need to understand that the chiropractor, and did you guys see the ABC interview that I did regarding chiropractic education and the value of chiropractic? That was very powerful because I got more feedback on that one from the lay people saying that I had no idea that my chiropractor was as well educated as my medical doctor. I had no idea. They just have different approaches to health, different perspectives towards health. They focus on different things towards health. It doesn't mean that it's less than or more than, it's just different. So I get invited to go on this catamaran, and I meet this medical doctor there, and he's telling me all these things about why he's in the United States and he's lecturing. And of course he asked me the question that you would ask somebody when you meet him is, what do you do? And I spent about an hour and a half to 2 hours telling this stranger that I was going to be a medical doctor, that I was going to be a neurosurgeon, that I was going to, all my past life before chiropractic. Here I am just going on and on and on and on. And after we docked the boat and I was walking on the beach, I started crying because for the first time of my life, I realized that I wasn't proud to tell people who I was. Have you felt like that sometimes? That you're just not proud to be able to shout to the world, this is who I am and this is why I'm doing it. So I reflected while I was on the beach and I'm like, why am I thinking like this? This was a conscious decision I made. This is something I wanted to do. I interviewed 62 chiropractors before I made that decision to make sure it was what I wanted. Why am I feeling like I can't tell a stranger that I'm going to be a chiropractor and I'm going to spend the rest of my life helping individuals fulfill their life potential through their health potential, which is what I believe. And what came to me was this, is that I still did not understand what chiropractic was. It wasn't chiropractic's fault. It wasn't Parker's fault. It was the fact that I had to recognize that I still did not understand the value of chiropractic. So how can I communicate a value when I don't even understand it? In my first trimester, I didn't get adjusted that often. So how can I even understand the value of the impact in my own life? Because we get so busy as students that we forget to go to the clinic and get adjusted. You know, it's not sometimes the best treatment or the best adjusting, but it's better than not getting adjusted. I've learned that lesson too. So I made a promise to myself. And I'm sharing you this story because I want you to understand that finding a passion for what you do is a skill. It's not something necessarily you're born with. It's just you're not spending enough time developing that belief system within yourself. You're not spending enough time reading and learning and listening to audio tapes and attending seminars like the ones that Dr. Gates is bringing to you. That's where you get the knowledge. That's where you get the spirit. And then, of course, by getting as many people into your tables, there's nothing that will build your confidence better than that. When you see the miracles that happen every single day, if you're open to them, because when I went to school, it was interesting. I'm learning about Harvey Liller. But then I go through school in clinic, and I'm not seeing a lot of Harvey Lillers in our clinics. Would you relate? I'm seeing a lot of back pain, neck pain, and maybe an occasional muscle spasm. You know, I'm not seeing the miracles. And I'm asking my doctor, so where are the miracles? Guess what? You have to be open to miracles before the miracles can show up. And one of the miracles that showed up in my life was a cancer patient, ovarian cancer, that called the clinic and wanted to become a patient. I went to my staff doctor and I said, you know, I'm so excited, I'm going to get this. The staff doctor said to me, well, I don't know if, you know, ovarian cancer, they're giving her already 6 months to live. Is that the right thing to do? Now, this was the early days. And I'm sharing that because we've come a long way as an institution, but more importantly, as a profession. But it's maybe not the right thing to do. So I said to her, well, what do I need to do to take care of this patient? I want to see this patient. I want to start seeing miracles in my life. Get permission from the oncologist. So I called the oncologist, and it was him that referred her to us. And he was like, what do you mean you need a letter from me to be able to see this patient? I was the one that referred them to your office because she lived close to the school, and I've heard good things about the school and the treatment and the care that you're giving there. So I was like, okay. So he sent the letter. So this lady lived 7 years. She remained my patient, and she remained chiropractic's patient 7 years. Imagine this, 7 years. She outlived the 6-month sentence. So at the funeral, I got invited. And the husband and the children come to me, and they said, Dr. Mancini, we want you to know that you extended the life of our mother, of my wife. Chiropractic, it was the one thing that she got home after the chiropractic adjustments and was so excited because it was helping her after the chemos and after all the things. And she always said that it was that was allowing her to not only feel better, but to live longer. That's when I started recognizing that we are the ones keeping our miracles from showing up. That's the why of chiropractic. And you don't need to perhaps spend a lot of time trying to understand those miracles. Just go visit somebody else's practice that is seeing miracles. You know, open yourself right now that you're going to show up tomorrow morning expecting miracles to show up. And when they show up, don't be afraid to accept them. Don't be afraid to accept them. How many AIDS patients were in the 80s when the AIDS epidemic, and you had chiropractors taking care of those kids, and they were getting better, and they were improving their immunology. That's the doctor that I saw, that was all he was doing. 80% of his patient base was AIDS patients. The first chiropractor I ever saw. And the rest were cancer patients. Because he was getting results. If you look at the history of chiropractic in the early 1970s, 20s, 30s, we were the last resort for most patients. Would you agree? So it was very easy for the chiropractor to build a level of certainty because the patients were already coming to them as a last resort. It wasn't that you had to justify anything. It's like, I got polio, I've been everywhere, can you please help me? Well, I don't know if I can help you, but I know if we can find any subluxations in your spine and we remove them, your body has a greater ability to heal. That's all you have to say. That's all you have to say. And give the body an ability to heal by removing subluxations. And guess how many patients? Did you know that Monty Greenwald, the founder of Full Levelers, how many of you heard of Full Levelers? One of the wealthiest chiropractors that ever has lived, probably one of the biggest philanthropists to date, that has given more money for research and chiropractic education than anybody else. He had polio. He was told he wasn't going to live. He went to a chiropractor. He changed his life. He changed his career. He became a chiropractor and became one of the most successful chiropractors in, I think, Dubuque, Iowa. And then we later discovered that he wanted to build these orthotics to sustain the adjustments better and develop full levelers. And it's a 62-year company that probably is still the most successful company in chiropractic. That all happened because he was the miracle. So I want you to think about this, because that why is what's driving your passion. If you're waking up right now every single day without really understanding what you do, what's different about you, and the impact that you can have in people's lives, then it's just a job. Then it's just like 9 to 5. It's just showing up and, oh, how many patients we have today? Oh, Dr. So-and-so, we have 20. Okay, great, well, bring them in. Or you're getting into that office early morning, visualizing and getting excited and preparing for that patient. Already have worked out, had a great breakfast or recovery shake. And now you're like, this is game time. I don't see a lot of that. And I'm not being judgmental, but I'm not seeing a lot of that. Because how you show up to the game is going to determine how successful the outcome of that game is. So my question to you is, how are you showing up? And what is it going to take for you to show up differently? Even if you don't want it for your sake. We got a dying world out there. We got dying children that are actually not outliving their parents because of this obesity, diabetes, hypertension, etc., etc. Can you imagine that? You see, I lost a brother. I lost my older brother. And I had to endure watching my mother and my father bury their son, their oldest son. It is unthinkable, the kind of pain that you go through. How many of you have children? Can you just imagine having to bury your own child? It's just unthinkable. Well, guess what? That's happening every single day in this country and around the world. It's the largest epidemic right now going on, and it seems like there's not a sense of urgency to change it. And if other people don't change it, do we have the ability to change it? Can you bring in that mom and dad and they're getting adjusted and you notice that obesity in that family, and then take the time to counsel them as to how is it that they look at food? How do they look at food? And where are they shopping? Are they looking at food as a satisfaction? I mean, I go places that are public places just to watch people, and it's a sad world out there. It's a sad world. They're stressed to no end. They're depressed. They're obese. They got arthritis. They got all these things. I mean, that's not the quality of life that I know you know. That is what we're meant to live. So I want you to think of your why, because I think that will determine pretty much how successful you will be. If your why is big enough, your practice will be more than flourishing. When I became a business owner, I was a little bit intimidated because I never owned a business. In fact, being a chiropractor was my first job. My parents always had a rule. Either we played sports or we worked. Ever since high school. And all of my 4 brothers and myself, we all played sports. We thought it was easier. Even though we were getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do practice before high school and then staying until 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night after school. That's what it takes to be the best that you can be. And I remember opening my office. I had $1,100 in my bank account. $1,100. And I asked myself, how am I going to make this work? So I went to 10 banks. I got rejected in 9 of them. By the time I reached the 10th, I knew exactly what I had to say. How many of you have been here? You get rejected enough times that you know exactly what you got to do for the next one, and then you get it. Well, it took me 10 times. And by that time, I think also, I didn't really care. When you're okay with rejection, you notice that your outcome is totally different. When you're so overwhelmed that, oh, they're going to reject me. What is really rejection? Rejection is just somebody is just telling you that they're not ready to participate at the time that you're asking. It has nothing to do with you as a person. Oh, but my feelings get hurt when I get rejected. I just feel like I'm failing them. All you can do is offer what you can do for them. And the more value you can put to that offer, the greater the outcome will be in their response. It's that simple. If they're not ready for it, what do you say? Pass. Next. Why? Because if you get stuck in that one rejection and now you don't go to the other one and go to the other one and go to the other one, guess what happens? Your practice doesn't grow. And you're missing out on an opportunity to impact people that are really ready for this. You know when it hit me? So you know that Hay House published my last book. So now I'm lecturing to lay people with Hay House. They call this I Can Do It. My next one is in Pasadena. I don't know where Pasadena is, but I think it's close to LA. But I'm going to Pasadena, so they bring 3,000 people every time. So we all speak to them. And my first one was in New York last year in September. And I'm speaking to, so we have Wayne Dyer open it, well, Louis Hay open it up, then Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, and myself. And then after me was Ivanla something, the lady that's doing how many of you watch the OWN network with Oprah? Well, that's one of Oprah's favorite persons now, so she gave her own show. And so on. So it was like 7 speakers, all of them at that level, and me. I don't know what I was doing there, but it's me. And one of the things I'll never forget is that when I finished my message about chiropractic and what we can do for people and why I became a chiropractor, which is what I share in every audience that I go to. I always share why I became a chiropractor, that we all have a choice in life. And it's up to us to choose what career we want to be in. I wanted a career that I can really live my passion for life. And I found it in chiropractic. And then I share with them why. What is it that we do for patients so that way they get an awareness. Well, they were so excited after that fact that I realized that the public is more ready for our message than we give it credit to. I think we're the ones holding ourselves back. I mean, I'm going to be very frank with you. And I've gotten to see this all over the world. It's not just in San Diego, but anywhere that I've been. It's the fact that our limiting beliefs are the ones that are holding society from being healthy and spreading chiropractic to more people. And that's just not what I believe Didi or BJ or Dr. Jim or Dr. Williams or Reggie, and God rest his soul. All of those greats that have sacrificed so much to try to build us up so we can believe in ourselves. And we say, I'm not ready. Just like when your patients tell you, I'm not ready. But we chose this. You see, that's the difference. We chose to be chiropractors. We chose to want to spread this message to more people, but we're not doing it to the degree that we can. When I felt that the public was more ready, that was one of my first experiences with a large crowd that were non-chiropractors. Because I spent the last 13 years primarily trying to lift chiropractors up all over the world. And I was shocked. I'm like, why aren't we doing more of this? Why aren't we filling out stadiums? Why aren't we doing these things to tell the world what it is? Because they're ready for our message. So because of that, I invited Hay House to now be part of Parker's seminar in Las Vegas. And you saw, for those of you that were there, they brought 897 patients to our program. And we sent all of those patients, because by the end of that day that they spent with us, they were all wanting a chiropractor for themselves. I don't know if you guys were there, the lines to try to give them their information, so help me find a chiropractor. This year we'll do it better. They're bringing 1,500 this January. Because we moved hotels, we got more room now. My goal is that we're going to make these things not 1,500, but 5,000, then 10,000, then 50,000, because that's where we need to be. We need to be where the people are. We need to go where the people are. And if we can bring them ourselves, then, like for Hay House, it's so interesting. They said, we stopped doing programs. I can do it in Las Vegas because hotels were so expensive and it's a union state. It is. And it's very expensive to put these programs together. So what they did, so what I said is, what about if we pay for everything? We got the program. We have all you have to do is bring the people. He said, well, anytime we went to Las Vegas, we can put 7,000 people like that. The only reason we have 1,500 is because that's our capacity. But imagine the power of that. So this year what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a referral force for all of those people, because they come from all over the United States to be there, for all of those people to find chiropractors at that spot right there. We're going to have the directors right there so they can actually live there with the right people. Or we're going to create like little cards with a link where they can find a referral source. But we're going to find a better system to make sure that everybody lives there with a referral source. That's the thing that I'm interested in doing. That's what I feel I'm being called to do, just to bring more patients to chiropractic care. But as we go through this journey of business, I remember waking up in the shakes. I don't know, I mean, let's be honest with you, because I mean, this is a rare opportunity for me to have such an intimate audience. And I came here primarily because I wanted to share with my heart what's in my heart, and hopefully you'll share with you. I woke up with cold sweats, with all the fears you can imagine, saying, I'm going to lose my apartment, I'm going to be on the streets, I'm going to have to sleep in my car. I've heard horror stories before, all because I only had $1,100 in the bank. So I chose to do an executive suite, $200 a month. I had a portable table. My little brother gave me his computer that was a 286X or something like that. I call it Barney because it was a dinosaur. It was a big floppy disk and all that. And that's all I had, a portable table and an old computer, you know. And I profited $3,800 my first month. My second month, in this little tiny office with no windows, it was a closet. Barely room for the table and me. Second month, it was $5,700 or $5,800. Third month, it came up to like 7 to 10,000. By the fourth month, I had to build my own place for 1,500 square feet because we were already seeing about 40 patients a day. It was ridiculous. And all I had to do was just share the message. So I never really lost money because I already had borrowed $62,000 to go to school. And I know for some of you, that seems like, that's nothing. You should see my bill, you know? But at the same time, let me put it to you this way. Whether you ended up with $200,000 or $250,000, I know, trust me, I know chiropractic education is outpricing its value in the marketplace. If we have more opportunity to serve more people, but when you apply yourself through a chiropractor, that investment is nothing in comparison to what God can bring you as far as riches and wealth. Nothing. It's nothing. I mean, nothing. $62,000. My first year, I made $332,000. My first year in this little executive suite that then I moved to a 1,500 square feet after 4 months. And I thought, I was like, wow, I never seen that much money. But it wasn't about the money. It has never been about the money. It's always been about the service. And if you can focus on the service, but face your fears. I mean, honestly, how many of you have had those nights that you wake up in shakes because of fears? Whether it's a relationship or whether it's a business venture or whatever. The only reason why I have fear is because it was an unknown. And I let those thoughts creep in, but guess what? That fear is what keeps you from actually moving forward. And you have to reset yourself, you have to cancel that, and you got to move forward and say, what can I do now to make that different? Because you're in control of your life. The circumstances, don't ever let the circumstances control you. You control your life. And I started realizing that what I needed was patience, so how did I do it? I found out that I didn't have no patience. I needed to find out and meet a lot of people in a short amount of time. A week after I opened, there was a Chamber of Commerce event that had about 400 people, and everybody kept saying, you need to be a member of the chamber. You need to work and mix and network. And I'm like, okay, I like people. I'll go. So in those days, this is what I did. 400 people. I started shaking hands, and I would say, what's your name?
Paul.
Paul. Okay, Paul, what do you do?
I'm a chiropractor.
No, let's say you're a plumber.
I'm a dentist.
Okay, you're a dentist. Okay. I'm Fab. I'm a chiropractor. So tell me a little bit about what made you want to be a dentist. People love to tell you why they're being who they are. That's one of the most beautiful ways to connect it with people and smile and be friendly and be really interested. So Paul tells me.
I just love a good smile.
I love that. Okay, so you know, Paul, I'm so touched by what you just said to me. Do you have one of your cars? Yeah, they tell us to bring cars to these networks. It's customary to bring your cars. Say, may I have one of your cars? You know, I just opened my practice, and I have a referral board. And I'm so impressed with who you are that, you know, I'm going to put you in my referral. Would that be okay with you? If there would be some patients that would be interested in coming to see you?
Of course, yes.
Okay, so that's genuine, right? Because I did have the board, and I did do that. So guess what Paul says next to me? Oh, you're a chiropractor?
I've been looking for a chiropractor to refer to.
Or Paul may said, typically the answer is this, because I've done this many times. Well, you know, I've been having some neck pain, or I've been having some back pain. That's really what Paul would say. So in the back of the car, I would write back. And I would not try to sell Paul at that moment. I just wanted to connect with Paul. I wanted him to connect with me, you know? And I say, you know, Paul, I'm going to go walk around, and then I look forward to getting to know you better, and I would love to come and visit your office one day because, you know, since I'm going to be referring patients to you, I would love to know where it is, and that way I can tell the patients how to find you. Would that be okay?
Of course, yeah.
Imagine that connection right now that Paul and I are getting to know each other on a level that now he can begin to trust me, I can begin to trust him. If I go visit him, that will take it to the next level. Wow, he came to see me. And you can do that at lunch, right? Just go visit him. Hey, Paul, I came by to, oh my God, that's so beautiful. And guess what? Paul is so happy to show me his office, introduce me to his staff. They all found out that I'm a chiropractor. So then what I did that, at the end of that night, I had 167 cards that I came home with. And all of them had something in the back. So in those days, we didn't have email. So what I did is I had pamphlets on all of those things. It's typically back pain, neck pain, and headache. So I had a pamphlet for each, and I wrote Paul a little note. Dear Paul, it was a pleasure meeting you. Congratulations on your practice. I look forward to getting to know you. I look forward to visiting you soon. By the way, I realized that you mentioned that you were having some neck pain. Here's a pamphlet that explains to you a little bit about what we can do to help you. And if you ever need anything or have any questions regarding how I can serve you through chiropractic, please don't hesitate to call. That's how I did it. If it's a medical doctor, then you add a research attachment to it. Now in email, you can email all of this because medical doctors only look at research for validity. That's why they're trained. That's what they're taught. So how many of you have heard of Ken Cooper? So Ken Cooper is the father of aerobics. If you're into running, he is the father of aerobics. He was the discoverer. And he's been probably the most celebrated man regarding researching and how you can live longer through proper exercise. Nobody has done more research than him. So this guy, he loves chiropractic. He's a chiropractic patient, but he's not referring to chiropractic, and he's all over the media and the news and all that. He has a huge wellness center in Dallas. And I set up a meeting with him, half an hour they gave me. And I brought my research, and I said, I just want to meet you. I've heard so much about you. We have common friends that, you know. But hey, Dr. Cooper, I just want to share with you some of the latest evidence that shows the benefits of chiropractic care. I know you're interested in longevity. I know you're interested in performance. I know you're interested in this. Let me know what you think. After having this center for probably 40 years, 50 years, you know, he's almost in his 80s. For the first time now, he's going to integrate chiropractic for all of those thousands of people that fly in from everywhere to go through that center. Because he did not understand the message until you had research. But for medical doctors, thank you. For medical doctors, all you have to do is show them a research. So what I do for medical doctors, let's say if I just met Paul, I would say, Paul, it was a great pleasure meeting you. By the way, doing my monthly overview or research on the latest literature in chiropractic, or the latest research in chiropractic, I came across this research dealing with dentistry. I hope that it helps you. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I look forward to visiting your office, or I'd love for you to come and visit mine, whatever the case may be, or where you left it. So that's the way you can build a practice very quickly. So out of that mixer, 27 patients showed up my first week after that. You don't have to, how many of you have heard of David Singer? Well, David Singer was teaching something in the early 80s that he said you don't open a practice until you meet at least 500 people personally. And you don't open a practice unless you have at least 50 patients scheduled your first week of practice. He says if when you do that, you will never, ever, ever, ever have a problem building a practice. Imagine your first week in practice. What most of us do, nobody's here. Playing in the internet now, which is so distracting. You know? Calling everybody in the world. Hey, Mom! No, nobody shut up yet. Yeah, the office looks really nice. You know? Wow, that new table that I just leased that I can't afford $10,000. Oh, beautiful. You know? It's still making coffee. You know? That's the kind of thing that I want you to really think about. You know? So, basic rules in business, okay? This is my best practices in business that I can share with you. Number one, it's not what you have that makes you valuable. It's who you are. Number one mistake that chiropractors make when they get into practice, they overspend without having the money to pay for that. Or with a philosophy of, well, I'll get to pay for that when I have this. That's not a good philosophy. Did you know that all the 4 months that I had that portable table, And then when I moved to the new place, I went to Parker. I bought used tables. I had them recovered for $150. Bought them for $250. Tables that were $4,000 at one time. Nobody could tell the difference. They were brand new once I recovered them. Not one patient in those 4 months ever said to me, "Are you going to adjust me in that?" You see how silly we are? Because what is powerful, right? I can get adjusted on the floor right now and still feel amazing. When we went to a mission in Dominican Republic, we have folding chairs. Thousands of people lining up in folding chairs. All we did was a cervical move. And people were claiming incredible results. I had a lady that they brought me to her house because we were filming a documentary at the time. A lady to her house. She had been suffering for 3 years, bedridden. Some neurological condition. She could not move her legs, so she couldn't walk. Pain like crazy, taking 50 pills a day to make it through the day. Seeing all the neurologists, all the people. Well, they wanted to see if chiropractic could help her. So they helped me put her in a couch. And in the couch, while she was kind of laying down because she couldn't sit up, she was in too much pain, I just adjusted her atlas. And I said, listen, just have faith that your body can heal. That's all I said. Just have faith that your body can heal. The next morning, I get a phone call from the person that took me to that house and said that the lady was 60% better. Can I come and do it again? I went ahead and did it again. By the time I left the second day, she was already at 80 or 90% better. Miracles happen when you are ready for them, expecting them. Second thing, so basic rules in business. Don't spend more than you make. I mean, come on. This is a simple, elementary. If you make $10, don't spend $10. If you make $10, you got to take 30% or 35% to tax, right? Is that simple? Yeah. So you got 65? And then you got your overhead on top of that. Now, if you're really smart, you're going to spend 10% that you give away to charity, 35% that you do taxes, the rest is overhead, or or the rest 10% you pay yourself. That's another principle. But whatever it is, understand that for every $10 that we make, we can't spend $10 or even $15 because we'll never catch up. If you can, so what I did when I moved into this new location, I went to every chiropractor in the area and I would call them and I would say, do you have any equipment that you're not using? And how many of us have things in our offices that we're not using? Be honest. I found posters, X-ray view boxes, file cabinets, tables. I mean, you name it. People just gave me all that stuff. Well, patients don't care. They just want something. So find ways that you can build your practice and be able to do it. You have to be able, there's 2 ways that you can build a practice, okay? This has been tested for over 50 years. If you're not doing workshops in your office at least once a week, if you want to double your practice, do them twice a week. And if you're not doing screenings at least once a week, you're not going to build the practice of your dreams. Any other things that you do is secondary to that. And I've seen it with my own eyes. The people that do the workshops and do the screenings usually are the ones that see in the most patients. So the question is, what keeps you from doing that? If that's the secret, I just gave you the secret, what keeps you?
That's the secret.
What keeps you from doing it? Well, I don't want to feel like I'm cheapening chiropractic by going to this health fair. Then hire somebody to do it for you. I have seen CAs do an exceptional job in communicating the value of chiropractic. Give them a bonus. Hey, you want to make some extra money, Candy? Great. Okay, why don't you do this health fair, and for every 10 patients that you sign up, I'm going to give you this X amount of bonus. Oh my God, I get an extra $200 to spend, or whatever the money is. Don't make excuses. But I'm not a great communicator. I'm not a public speaker. I recommend you do the workshops 20 minutes long only. Keep it short and create a relevant topic that is in everybody's minds. The way you find relevant topics, watch the news, read the paper, and just highlight what is it that they're talking about, what are the headlines, and create a talk for that week that is what people are talking about. You'll get more patients and more people into that office. If you want to make flyers and send it to the people in those businesses in the area, hey, we're having a workshop, we're going to be talking about ways that you can handle the stress in your life. Or we're going to talk about how to eat healthy and lose 5 pounds within the first 30 days. Whatever the case may be relevant. Relevant means you got to be talking about the things that people are talking about. If you do that, everything else follows. Not being relevant is trying to give somebody the chiropractic story in a way that they're not ready for. And trying to talk to yourself about how you understand chiropractic instead of the way that that person is able to receive it. I see that all the time. How much time do I have? Matt?
Till you feel it, baby.
Well, I don't want to, I know you have some other things.
I eat those cookies. Dr. Gambino said, I think everyone got hypoglycemic. So we're in it.
Well,
we're in it.
is this being helpful?
Come on.
Okay.
We're dropping bombs, man.
Say, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. I have found in my life that when I work for a cause greater than myself, my life has always been better. You know? When you're in a relationship with anybody and you wake up every single day trying to find a way to fulfill the needs and the ambitions and the dreams of that person, guess what happens? That person will wake up one day and try to fulfill the needs and dreams of you. It's that simple. When you meet the needs of your patients and the communities that you're in, and you're being relevant to what is their needs, what are their problems, and find solutions to them, and frame it that way, guess what? That society, that community will be the one taking care of you for the rest of your life. Where you don't even have to ask for referrals, even though I encourage you to do, if that's what you want, more patients. Let them bring it back to you because you've given to them already. It's that simple. For me, the cause greater than myself is really the health of humanity through chiropractic. It's been like that since 1987 that I started chiropractic school. I saw it. I saw the fact that when I learned what chiropractic was, I realized that we had a solution to most people's problems without them knowing about it. I discovered that in my own life. I discovered that when I became a chiropractic patient after that automobile accident, I have never been the same. I have never been the same physically, mentally, and spiritually. I have been connected with something greater than myself from day one. I have been more focused and on purpose since that time. I don't get sick, and I go pretty hard. I mean pretty hard. I was telling Stephen that I recently did my full x-ray. I went ahead and did all the views, and I compared them to 20 years ago, when I've had 4 accidents and different things in my life, arthritis and all that. All my discs have regenerated, all my curves are perfect, and any arthritis that was in my spine is completely gone, and I'm 46 years old. Now, I don't know, we don't do that enough, but I've been getting adjusted at least twice a week for the last 23 years, at least twice a week, you know? Because that's what helps me. But why is it that we're not sharing that with others? How many of you are getting adjusted even once a month? You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. Maybe this group is different, but the average chiropractor doesn't get adjusted even once a month. When I'm in Europe, when I'm in Asia, when I'm in different areas, those chiropractors may not have a chiropractor nearby them. And they're struggling because then they get sick and they can't take care of the people. You know, my chiropractor is great because he just moved across the street from my house. I live in a neighborhood that is gated, but across the street there's this beautiful shopping center, and he just moved there. So on my way home, I just stop before him, see him, and then go see my wife and my kids. When I travel, I land, and if he's open, or I call him and text him and say, hey man, I just got in, is there any way you can see me? I go to his office first, and then I go home. Because I know I'm not going to be the husband and the dad to my children that I want to be unless I'm clear. Can you agree with that? Yes. I'm not going to be the best that I can be for you unless I just got adjusted before that. I know that. I'm not going to show up in a way that I'm not going to be my best. That's not what you came here for. You don't take a Monday night just to come here and just say, oh, that was okay, that was mediocre. No, I'm here because I want you to hopefully recognize that you have the power to change right now if you choose to. Say, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
And I know right now that if you want to see more patients, all you have to do is be able to communicate the value of chiropractic to more people. Say, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
That's all I want you to do. If you want to have a better relationship with your family and your children, make time for them. Find out what's important to them. Listen to them. You know that my main decision for choosing to retire from the presidency at this time was only because I took my family to a trip to Atlantis. How many of you heard of Atlantis in the Caribbean? That place is paradise. Well, it's called Paradise Island, but it's true paradise. And it's so interesting because here I am enjoying myself with my family, and the Bohemian Chiropractic Association, which just happened to be in Nassau, found out that I was there. They called me at 8 o'clock in the morning when I'm sleeping with my wife, and it's like my wife is like, who knows that we're here? We didn't tell anybody. Oh, my name is Mike, and I'm the president of the Bohemian. I'm sorry to wake you, ma'am, but is your husband there? We want to see if he can come and talk to us before he leaves. You know, and I did, which was fantastic. It was beautiful. But when we were talking, this is the questions that I asked my wife and I asked my children. How have you seen that I changed over the last couple of years? Am I being the person that you married? We've been together 24 years. Am I coming home as excited as I was one? And the answers were no. You're frustrated. You feel limited. You're apologizing for this. You're turning down the things that can really help this profession advance. You're working so hard. You're traveling so hard. You're going to all these political meetings when people don't want to work together. And you keep thinking, okay, but if I can just bring them together, you know, ICA, ACA, and ACC, and CCE, and everybody, no, we're going to have this profession that we can all really agree to move forward. We're not there. I spent the last 13 years. I brought more people together than anybody in this profession, and we're not there. I can't keep waiting. I can't keep waiting. I'm not going to spend my time doing that. I know that the answer is to go to the public and bring the public to you. I already experienced that. I already seen that. I already done that. You know that when we did the Dr. Phil show, just at Parker, just the things that we can track in our database, he allowed us to put a website in the webpage that if you're looking for a chiropractor, click here. Over 2,700 hits of people that were finding a referral from our alumni. 2,700 in 2 days. That's power. You know, and the show was repeated twice in the United States, but all over the world. Australia, when they show the Dr. Phil show in Australia, I get a phone call from Simon Floriani. Beautiful man. I love this family, you know, him and his wife. And he calls me and says, chiropractors are just saying that all these patients are going to them, man, what did you do and all that? And we got to get this book over here, and when can you come and lecture? We want to do a patient lecture. I just got invited by Cancer Center Treatments of America. How many of you have heard of them? These are the most mega hospitals for cancer patients. They are revolutionizing the care of cancer because they have chiropractors as part of their team members. The only hospital that has for cancer chiropractors as a core treatment doctor. They've asked me to tour in every single hospital because there were so many stories of cancer patients healing through chiropractic in that book. And they want to promote that. They said, you have the credibility. This is a great way for us to do it. Would you mind coming and talking to all of our cancer patients and their family? These are things that I'm being asked all the time to do that I kept saying, no, I can't do that, but I got this meeting and I got to do this. You know, and it broke my heart because I've given so much. But the reality of it is that when God calls you to do something bigger than yourself, you got to listen. You got to listen. And I don't know all the things that are going to happen, but I'm going to surprise you pretty soon with some of them. But I'm so excited because I know right now that each one of you has that power within yourself. Each one of you has the power to pitch the news. You know, the last time I was here was this summer. I came to speak at the Idea Fitness Center conference. 6,000 people were here at the convention center. It was myself, Jane Fonda, 4 people. I forgot who the other people were. But anyways, and we were talking about how to get the fitness trainers to understand how they can be more impactful to their people. Well, what I did is that when I was here before for the Parker seminars, we called Fox News here, Channel 5. Yep. And Matt can tell you because Matt went with me. And all we said is, hey, Fox News, you know, found out that you were here. They want you to come and talk to them about some of the things that you've written in your book. And initially, and Matt can tell you, the pitch was that they gave to me, not that I gave to them, because that's what's happening every city I go to now. I don't have to go to them. They can come to me if they find out that I'm there. Is the fact that I said, I want to be able to bring a patient on stage. Well, that's what they pitched to me. We want you to bring a patient on stage and show how chiropractic helped them. So I don't have a patient in San Diego, so who do I call? Matt. I said, Matt, do you have a patient that has incredible results that would be willing to go on TV and be able to share the story? Within, what, 2 hours or 3 hours, he had an amazing patient. And then the lady in the morning, or the night before, no, it was the night before or the morning, no, the night before. She calls me and she says, oh no, I'm really interested in nutrition. I want to see if you can talk about nutrition instead. Which I did, which was fine because we established our rapport. And you never want to say no to a host because they want to invite you more. If you try to push your agenda, this is great for television and radio. Don't push your agenda. Push their agenda, but always be willing to talk about chiropractic. Always be willing to mention chiropractic, even if to say, as a chiropractor, this is why nutrition is so important. This is why we recommend good nutrition for our patients. Let me show you what some of the healing foods are. And then we did a smoothie on the show. But the reality of it is this, is the fact that no news are being pitched by chiropractors, but they're being pitched by medical doctors and pharmaceutical companies on a daily basis. That's why those things get on TV. Why don't you pitch them? Share a story of one of your patients. You know, there was a big news release that was done based upon infertility. And I'll never forget talking to the chiropractor and say, how did you get this on ABC News? And the guy said to me, well, my patient told me that, and I was noticing that in other patients, and I just happened to meet one of my patients that was in the media, and she said, you should really call the news and tell them you have this. He said within a week they set up a time, brought the cameras there and interviewed those patients. Boom, it was one of the best, it's in YouTube, it's one of the best pieces on how chiropractic helps infertility. You know, it's beautiful, beautiful. But it's up to you. It's up to you to build that cause greater than yourself. What is your cause greater than yourself? You know, what is your calling in life? What is it that you want to be able to, you know, like I'm writing right now my 100th birthday speech. Why? Because I did a thing that's called the Passion Test. It's a best-selling book out there that a friend of mine has called Janet Atwood. And she took me through my 5 passions, which I discovered my 5 passions in life now. And part of the exercise, once you discover your 5 passions, is that now you're going to write your 100th birthday speech, and then you're going to live your life backwards. Like Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. Yep. That's the whole message there. So imagine when you're writing your 100-year speech, the format is very simple. What do you want people to be saying about